And I'd say I came from a situation where, my folks being divorced, I didn't have an understanding of marriage. I didn't know what it meant to be a husband. I just didn't. And of course, with addiction, I was just lost. I've always loved Jesus. I was just lost in life by my own choices, kind of thing. So when I understood the reality of where our marriage was at, which I understood I'd lost her, okay, and from an emotional standpoint, there was nothing there, and it was all on me. And I realized at that point, okay, this is going to be a long journey, but I'd already seen divorce, and I knew that didn't solve anything.
This is Ryan and Michelle, and welcome to the Celebrate MarriageCast, where we hope to restore and reclaim godly marriages through honest and real conversations.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, Ryan!
We're so excited to be back with you. It's episode 120, and we have some special guests to kick off the new year. We're so proud of you, listeners, for taking time to invest in your marriage and to kick off our new year, new relationship episode. We have Pastor Reed and Cindy DeVries. Welcome to our show, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Man, we love you guys and love what you're doing, so we're honored.
We're so glad to have you. When we were thinking of a New Year's topic, we both thought we need to get Reed and Cindy on here. So we're so excited to hear from you. And will you both just take, for our listeners that maybe are out of the area or not familiar with you, will you just tell us a little bit about yourselves, how long you've been married? Tell us about you.
Okay, well, we're Reed and Cindy. We've been married 47 years, and I've always grown up around this area. So my dad was a dairy farmer, and so, we met in high school a long time ago.
Amazing. 47 years.
Yes.
We're chemistry lab partners our junior in high school, and I say it, but it's true. I fell in love first day I saw her. Only girl ever dated, only girl ever kissed outside our family. So
amazing.
And we have 2 grown children, married, live here in town, 4 grandkids. So we have a lot of fun with that.
So awesome.
Yeah, and I've been in ministry now 47 years as well, and 30 years in youth ministry, and now the last 17 years here at Celebrate.
Wow. I don't think I realized you were in ministry the same amount of time that you have been married. That's incredible. That's a long time in ministry.
We got married the same week that we started ministry, which I would never recommend anybody ever do, but that's the way it worked out.
We sort of did that. We were married in 2011, and then within 2 months, I went into full-time ministry. And I thought that was a lot, but not the same week. So,
yeah. Well, Michelle, as you said, it's a new year, and what better time to relook at our marriages and ask ourselves some really pivotal questions. One, how did we do last year? I think it's important. And then, what do we want to change this year? And Michelle, as you said, we couldn't think of anyone better than Reed and Cindy for these 2 really big questions that we have to ask ourselves and ask ourselves as a married couple. And just relook at our marriages and what do we need to change. So I do have a question though for you, Reed, because we were talking about this beforehand, and I feel like you preach every New Year's message. I don't know how many have been done, but it feels like just a great start to the new year.
do you know how many New Year's messages have you given?
I'd have to go back and look, but I've done a lot of them. And it's either maybe not either the first of the new year or it's the last of the previous year.
Sure.
It's one of the 2. I've done them a lot.
Well, I'm excited for our listeners. You have a great ability to really coach and to give really good guidance when it comes to goals and resetting and just practical principles. So for those of you that haven't heard Pastor Reed preach at Celebrate, you're in for a treat today. And what a delight, again, to have Cindy with and to hear kind of the other side of it too. So you can verify all the stories that Reed tells. Now we have you live and in person. We've never gotten to hear your side before too. So we're glad to have you both.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So to start off, how important is it that we come together as a couple and refocus each year?
That's a great question, because when Reed and I were talking about that question, it's good to have yearly goals, but what good is it to have those goals if you don't revisit those goals every week or bi-monthly or something? And so I think it's good to have weekly or those yearly goals, but you need to have that time to talk and revisit those goals and make sure you're still on track. But when you're sitting down, that's why you have to have your talk time. I think Reed and I have talked about that. You have to have that time where you sit down and talk. But that's when you're vulnerable, you're accountable, you're totally honest with each other. And if someone has fallen off the deep end, which happens sometimes, we're all human. We've said something, did something, whatever it is that I consider myself someone who has grit. I'm a gritty person, and that means that I don't quit. So if I have fallen off the deep end, I'm going to get this figured out and we're going to make it right. And so I'm a very gritty person. So I think something that we had learned along the way is that we were with a marriage counselor, and he had told us that if something were like, if we were always with people, if we were in a group situation and maybe something he said, something I said just did not sit right. And because you get home and you're tired, you don't talk about it. And, if you don't deal with that, all of a sudden you're going to get this furnace that starts going, and all of a sudden you're angry and you don't know why. And what he told us to do is that take a penny and put it on his nightstand or on my desk or something to let you know that we need to talk. We don't need to be talk right now, but we need to talk sometime about this. We just need to take some time to talk about this. And that has been so valuable to us because I don't have a furnace that's steaming all the time.
Yeah.
Because you start with things when they're small, and then it's much easier to deal with.
That's a great idea. I was kind of smiling when you were sharing that. I was just imagining, Reed, have you ever woken up to like a stack of coins?
Well, if I come home and there's like 100 pennies on the table, okay, then yeah, we have to talk.
It's a great idea. I love that. But revisiting it, just not setting a goal and leaving it, but revisiting it, coming back to it. That's great, Cindy.
I think the phrase maybe for us is constant course correction. It's kind of, my analogy is, let's say that a space shuttle took off. How often do they course correct? All the time.
Yeah.
They're always course correcting, constantly, because every so many seconds they're correcting, because they know it doesn't take long and you're off course.
Yeah.
Big time. And so sometimes even, maybe this was in our early part of marriage, we didn't course correct. We just, it'll go away, la, la, la. Well, no, it doesn't, kind of thing. When couples say, man, we're just apart. We've just grown apart from each other. Well, no, that's natural in life. But you always have to be course correcting all the time. And that's why for us, a weekly, conversation that we have a time every week where we sit down together. And one of the first questions that we pray, but then the question that we always ask ourselves, is there anything we need to rewind from the last week?
That's a good question.
Anything at all. Because that way we know that if there is something that a penny on the table or something that has been a frustration, it'll never go longer than 6 days.
Yeah.
Because then we'll talk about it. And by that time, I've even had a chance to have perspective on it, kind of thing. And it's one of the phrases that we use often, and I use it with our kids on maybe probably every 2-3 months basis, is there anything I could do less of, more of, stop doing, start doing, that would make me a better husband? Anything I would, more of, less of, start doing, stop doing.
That's good. You ask your kids that too. Better father, better husband.
Yeah, better husband. Yeah. Because if there is, then let's talk about it now. It might be something small, but that's that course correction, constant course correction.
So good.
Yeah, I think that's so great to do that, and Cindy, you reference this as a furnace or whatever it is, even if you're using navigation of just, being a little bit off, it's going to make a big difference the longer you go. And so I love that constant correction of weekly. Now, is this a set time you guys have it on your calendar as like a date night or what is it?
For us, it's separate than a date night.
Okay.
Because date night, we don't want to talk serious topics, just fun kind of things.
It's like a business meeting almost.
Yeah.
It's a corporation, it's a gathering of the board kind of thing. But it's a separate time. Typically the same time. We might have to be a little bit flexible on when it is, but we always know, okay, it's at this time.
Yeah.
And we typically also read through a marriage book together. So we're always taking part of that to talk about, books kind of thing. But the key thing is there anything that we need to put into alignment?
Yeah, it's great. I hope our listeners are able to think of that visual too. I feel like there's an example of, an airplane 1 degree off by the end of its journey, going X amount of miles per hour is on different continents from where it originally started out to go. So getting course correction constantly. That's so great. Why do you guys think it's so hard to implement new things and to change? We all have heard the stats about gym memberships as we approach, every new year brings a new wave of people flocking to the gym. I've done that myself, but by February, 80% of those brand new people have dropped off. So why is it so hard to implement these changes?
Because it's so uncomfortable. It's not easy. I always heard it said that the only people who like change is that baby with a wet diaper. And so that they are the only ones that want it. Nobody likes to change. Nobody likes to be uncomfortable. Nobody likes to be asked those difficult questions or be questioned about something you said or did. I mean, it's uncomfortable. We would rather open our phone and look at social media. We would rather turn on the TV. We'd rather watch a sports thing instead of taking responsible for ourselves and sitting down and say, okay, I'm responsible for myself here. I need to take ownership of myself. Let's move off this and let's be willing to move on. It's hard.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I was at a conference and they talked about that a lot of it is just this numbing, right? It's easier just to kind of socially numb whatever that is that you're doing instead of being intentional and taking control of the changes that you want to happen. So that's a great example.
I think it's not just in marriage or in anything. People don't want change, like Cindy said, it's a comfortable kind of thing, because change forces me to look at myself. Because I heard a guy say this years ago, and it was very helpful to me. He said, Reed, there's only 3 things in life you'll ever be able to control. Ever. He said, it's your actions, your attitude, your atmosphere. People you put yourself around. He said, if you're ever frustrated about anything, Reed, he said, it's because you're trying to control something you were never meant to control. And I have found that to be really true. If I'm frustrated about anything in life, almost always I'm trying to control something I was never meant to control. And so when you talk about change, the aspect of it is I have to look at myself, because I can't control Cindy. I can't control what happens to her or anything else kind of thing. And for me, when I did that, part of the reality is then I have to understand, okay, so what's going on in me? So for example, let's say that Cindy said something and it frustrated me, or I was upset for some reason. Well, I have to look at me and say, well, why? Why am I upset? Because I know she loves me. She loves Jesus with all of her heart. She never do anything to her. So what's going on in me that's causing me to be frustrated? And even going back, because obviously I've been very open about I had an addiction, okay, for many years. The first, basically, 15 years of our marriage, I had an addiction she knew nothing about. Okay, it was a very, kept it secret from everything. So I had to go many layers deep, because sometimes the issue is not the issue. That's just the surface of it. Then there's a link down here to another layer, and then there's another layer, and then possibly another layer. That's really the stem of all of this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so the hardest to change is because you can't just change the surface stuff. You have to go down deeper below that. And that's the things that don't go away easily. And sometimes you need a professional counselor. I have, kind of thing, to be able to do that, because you got to look at yourself and say, what's really going on here? Why in me? I can't blame her. This is on me.
I think it's really empowering what you said about you're responsible. You can control yourself, your emotions, your reactions. Did I miss any? Were those the 3?
Your attitude, your actions, and your atmosphere.
Attitude, actions, atmosphere. And I feel like hopefully that's really empowering for our listeners to hear, because it takes a lot of pressure off trying to control everything. You can control those things, but it should be empowering. So as you approach your new year and you're looking to make changes in your relationship, I hope that gives you encouragement to control what you can control.
And you probably heard this phrase that when somebody spits on you, they don't make you mad, they only make you wet. It's your choice to get mad. So if something has made me angry in a relationship, or let's say in marriage, well, that's on me. That's not on Cindy. That's on me. I've allowed it to make me mad.
Sure. And then on her part, maybe it's her being introspective and covering those layers. Like, why are you constantly spitting on Reed? But you have the choice to decide how you respond to that.
Yeah.
But then Cindy needs to go and do her own work on why do you keep spitting on Reed? Yeah.
Yeah. I think that self-reflection is so hard. And I think especially, I'm speaking for myself. But I think a lot of men probably struggle with this when it comes to marriages and, feelings and understanding that there may be some deeper things that you need to work out, and you need to, like you said, Reed, look at each layer and be like, okay, what is it? What is going on that, if Michelle does this, it triggers something like in me, like, okay, I really need to explore that. And maybe it's a temper, where, you kind of have that reputation of, I have a quick temper. Well, okay, let's like really dig in that and look and see, okay, where does this come from?
Yeah, it's good, Ryan.
And I think it's a hard thing to do for some men, particularly to look at.
Well, because I'm the worst person to see myself. I have blind spots, whether I'm driving or with my hair. You just don't see it in yourself. That's where I need accountability with other godly men, other people that can speak into my life. Because I don't say it like, sometimes I'll tell Cindy, hey, if I'm repeating a word frequently, tell me. Because sometimes I'll get on that, all of a sudden, why am I saying this word all the time?
Sure.
And she does, but I also need it from everybody else because I'm the worst person to see myself.
I don't know if you guys are going to share this later, but could you just share what your accountability looks like? Because I feel like that's a big part of setting up healthy habits for the new year too. What does that look like?
Mm-hmm. I'll start with me if there's anything you want to add to it. For me, I'm in a men's community group, okay, and we are very vulnerable with each other. We're very honest, and we know what says there stays there, okay? But then I have a couple other men that are mentors in my life. They're both older than me. I think they have a lot more wisdom than I do and a lot more experience that also I'm very honest with, and they have total ability to say anything. And I've also given that honor to both our son David and daughter Sarah as well, that if there's anything you see me, I've always said, I don't want to be a spot where you go, Dad, oh my word, what are we going to do with Dad? No, just tell me.
Yeah.
Just say it to me.
Accountability. Definitely life group, I think, is so important because those are people you see on a weekly basis and you can share with each other and you have to be vulnerable with each other. And also with our David and Sarah, our kids, also making sure that I'm always accountable to them and to Reed particularly. That's the most important person I need to be accountable to.
Awesome. Thanks, Cindy.
That's so good. So you kind of shared a little bit, but what are your recommendations for couples? I think especially those couples that have a hard time with change. What would you recommend?
Well, I have a friend that says this. He always says, well, suck it up, buttercup. That's just life. Life is just about change. You get married, you're getting used to each other. Then you have children. Then you go through all those children ages. Then you go through empty nest and job changes and health changes and taking care of parents. And that is just life. But if you are really struggling with an area and you just can't pull through, well, then you do need to talk to someone. You need to be someone you can be accountable to. And I would say it should not be your wife. It should be either a counselor or someone that is knowledgeable in the area that you're struggling in. But I think you have to, when it comes to change, I have to remember I can't change Reed. I can only change me. And he gave me permission to share this story. So my dad could fix anything. He could fix anything in the house.
Remember showed MacGyver?
Yeah.
That was her dad.
Yeah.
She could take dental floss and fix the tractor, anything.
He could fix anything. And I came into marriage with Reed thinking, fix it. And he just did not grow up with that. And so what happened is that at my bridal shower 47 years ago, somebody gave me a red toolbox with a hammer and a screwdriver and the pliers. And she said afterwards, she goes, this is your toolbox. You don't share this with your husband. This is your toolbox to have. You keep this in the house. And so 47 years later, we still have our red toolbox, but it's our toolbox because Reed came into life with no tools whatsoever.
Oh, sure.
And so
I have two tools in my toolbox, and that is a cell phone and a checkbook. If it's broke, that red toolbox is hers. I have my two.
But you have to go into marriage and feel like I can't change him. I can't. He is never going to fix anything. And so you'll learn there's times in marriage we have to extend some grace. And I do that because Jesus has extended me grace more times. I'll cry if I think about this, more times than I can even think about. So I can exchange grace with him. So 2 Corinthians 12:9, my grace is sufficient for you, for power is perfected in weakness. So there needs to be time where you extend grace.
Yeah. And I think this in any area of life, but especially in this one, start small and start with one thing. Because obviously course correction, most people by now it's, whoa, way over here.
Yeah.
And how do I get back to here? Well, it's going to be a journey. You didn't get there overnight. It won't come back overnight. But let's start with one. What's one small thing, one habit? Because we're all a result of our habits. What is that? And for most couples, my question is, do you pray together? And most couples don't. And so for us, that was one of the key things. Every morning, every night, I typically leave the house before she does, okay? And at night, at bedtime, if we're not going to bed at the exact same time, one can't go to bed until we've done the same thing both times. We hold hands, we pray, and we kiss and say we love each other.
Yeah.
So that if that's even a small thing, start with that. And once you've now gotten that one, now what's the next small thing I can do to move forward?
Yeah. That's so good, Reed and Cindy. Ryan and I pray every night together, and I think one is really hard to pray with someone and stay mad at them. So it's kind of the great resolver as well. But there's statistics out there about, the couples that pray together, just how much stronger that makes your marriage and how those people stay together. But great advice, and not to make it feel so daunting, just starting with one thing, not looking at the whole gap that you have to fill, but what can you do to start getting one degree back on track? And Cindy, we can relate to that story.
Yeah, I am not a toolbox guy myself either. So
Ryan, I grew up with my dad fixing cars in the garage and doing all the oil changes. And you know what? Ryan has many other gifts, and I am appreciative for the gifts that he has. And you know what? That's okay. I don't know that stuff either. So, and I'm not exactly a great chef or anything. So we've each given each other grace and know that it's not that you're incompetent. You just have really strong other giftings.
Yeah. I think one thing, Cindy, you mentioned this, and it's so true. We're finding this as, the longer we're together, like it's almost as if every decade or every 5 years brings something new. Like change happens, and different things have come at us, and all of these things, and it's so important for you to have this conversation, because these things are going to happen. And we've been finding that as like, oh, we have this now. And it's just like, okay, like
health challenge or family or, you're right. I mean, people that say, oh, well, this and this, and it's just, that's life. There's going to be something. Yeah. We don't know what, but there's going to be something this year and last year and the year before. There are always things.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we were just joking about this. We did like a New Year's retreat in
2 years ago.
2 years ago. And it was like, best year ever. And like,
it's the Mel Robbins podcast. She had this workbook you could print for, the best year ever.
Yeah. And it was kind of to go through, go through different prompts and things like that, and goal setting and all of this. And like, it wasn't on paper a great year for us. So we often joke about that, but
we did have a conversation, because that was the year that you said, gosh, I broke my leg and then blood clots to my lungs and this person got sick and all this. And I was like, yeah, but also this and this and this and this and this. And you're like, oh my gosh, Michelle, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Kind of refocus on how good God is. And Pastor Reed, you did an amazing message on gratitude, on all the things that we have to be grateful for, even amidst the things that are going to pop up.
Yeah, yeah. And I also just love that small incremental things of, praying together, saying I love you. Like those things, like just here, morning and night, do those things, just do those things and just build on that. I love that. That's so good.
Do you guys have any personal experiences that you haven't shared yet that you could share that have helped in this journey? And also, I'm guessing, has it been easier or difficult? I'm guessing some of them have been difficult, but would you be willing to share?
Well, it's never been easy, but it was worth fighting for. So, and we were willing to fight for our marriage. We were willing to fight for our relationship. And so one thing particularly that was helpful for me is that we never went cheap on conferences and books. That was an investment. We never looked at how much was that book or how much was that conference. It was an investment in us, an investment in marriage. And one particular conference we went to where the wife spoke, and just like God had me at that particular time to hear this particular woman speak on this particular subject, that totally changed my life and how I felt about Reed and my attitude about our relationship. And so you just cannot put a price on, to me, going to learning, still be willing to learn about how to improve yourself, most importantly, but in how to improve your marriage.
And I'd say I came from a situation where, my folks being divorced, I didn't have an understanding of marriage. I didn't know what it meant to be a husband. I just didn't. And of course, with addiction, I was just lost. I've always loved Jesus. I was just lost in life by my own choices, kind of thing. So when I understood the reality of where our marriage was at, which I understood I'd lost her, okay, and from an emotional standpoint, there was nothing there, and that was all on me. And I realized at that point, okay, this is going to be a long journey. But I'd already seen divorce, and I knew that didn't solve anything, except for maybe, major addictions or abuse. Divorce hardly ever solves an issue, kind of thing. And so I said, okay, I got to make up time. And that's why we invested into conferences and we invested into books, into counseling, just because I had to learn. I had a mentor one time say that, Reed, everything in life you'll learn from one of two ways. Either mentors or mistakes, your mistakes. And I determined, okay, I already learned from number two enough. I have to go back to number one. And even reading books, I was never a book reader, but one guy really challenged me and made me think different about it. He said, when you buy a book, you're not buying a book. You're buying 20 years of a person's wealth of wisdom. So when you spend $20, you're paying a guy $20 for 20 years of wisdom that you're going to get in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that changed my whole outlook on books. So I began to read a lot of books, especially on marriage and understanding love languages. And all the things I'd never been exposed to, kind of thing, because I knew it was a learned trait. It didn't come natural. I had to learn it, kind of thing. And so that's why I would agree that we've invested a lot of money and time into that because we had to make up for stuff.
Reed and Cindy, what have been some of the most impactful marriage books that you've read?
Definitely, you just talked about The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. I think anybody getting married, or if you've never read that book, you need to read that book because our love languages will total opposite from each other. And so if I was trying to speak to him in my love language, well, he'll never feel loved. And if he tried to, to me, that is a very important book. The other one is Friends, Partner, Lovers by Kevin Thomason. We read that book, really enjoyed that book. We recommend that book a lot, and we revisit that book. We really enjoy that book.
He was also a guest on the Celebrate MarriageCast podcast.
Yeah.
Which was really great.
Yeah.
He's amazing. I think we're having him back, aren't we?
Yeah.
He has a new book coming out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, and I'll just jump in and come back to it. Like on that book specifically, Friends, Partners, Lovers, I realized, okay, I'm a great lover. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. But what I realized, and we've been great partners. Mm-hmm. We were great partners.
From business ventures and stuff like that.
And just parenting and so forth. I've been a really bad friend. Mm. That's what that book's really taught me. I had been a really bad friend. And so understanding, okay, what does it mean for me to be Cindy's best friend? What would that mean? What do I need to do to get to that? So again, revealing things not about, I don't read the book so that Oh yeah, she needs to read this. No, this is about me. So didn't want to interrupt.
That's great.
Anything else?
And the other one is that the Love Dare book. Do you remember that movie 5 or 6 years ago by the Kendrick brothers? It's a marriage where their marriage was falling apart, and his dad gave him this book of 40 days in a row. You need to do this and this and this and this.
Was that from the Fireproof movie or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it Fireproof?
Yep.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, I was looking, when you talked about books, I went through my bookshelf and I'm thinking, we need to revisit that book again. To me, that is, if somebody's struggling at all in marriage, I mean, that is neat as a good book for you to start from again, too.
That's great.
Yeah.
One of those seemed like a great New Year's goal for your relationship, whether it's love languages, reading friends, partners, lovers, we can put a link to that, or the Love Dare.
Yeah.
Be great goals.
Exactly.
I'd probably add, obviously, the Bible. The most important book a person needs to read, and if you're not used to reading, then start there. Start reading the Bible. That's the key. But two other books I think were helpful is Sacred Marriage, to understand that the reason God put us together was not for our happiness, it's for us to be holy.
Yeah.
To drive out as much selfishness that is in me as possible in that context of marriage. But the other one is not a Christian book, but it is a absolute truth book, and that is called Hung by the Tongue. And it's an old book that it's still available, that talks about the power of the spoken word, and that every word is a seed and it grows. And Cindy and I both read it, and we were both really convicted about our mouth and our talk, and we determined, okay, we're changing every aspect of what we say. We only say what we want. We only say what is helpful, true, kind, noble, pure.
Sure.
Yeah.
We are not going to let any kind of a negative word come out of our mouth, whether it's to each other or to somebody else about each other.
Yeah.
And only planting seeds of our words. So those, I think, were books that were
That's really
for
great.
us.
Thank you guys for sharing those books. I had not heard of that last one. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't.
I feel like that is something that we've been good at, is reading. Some of us, because of the podcast, so we read marriage books pretty regularly, but my goal is around 20 books a year. Ryan's at 100, so you're a little further ahead of me, but continue learning. And I agree that it has to start with being in the Word. And Ryan, you do so well. You've modeled that so well for our family. Your stacks of journals from your Bible notes. I mean, you have multiple journals full of notes from your reading. And that, I feel like, was really what started changing the foundation of our marriage, or just laying that foundation, was you being in the Word, our kids seeing it. They're in the Word every day. Ryan, I don't know how Ella has a Bible streak of several years.
Yeah.
And every morning she's in the Word on her Bible app. And Thomas, our 10-year-old, is in the Word every day. But they've seen us do that, which is incredible.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's changed. I mean, it starts with me, as you said, Reed, and that was sort of my conviction. And once I had that, change started to happen, obviously inside of me, that changed everything else. And I think that's so important. I want to revisit some of this. Are these discussed during your weekly time?
Books?
Yeah.
Yeah. During our weekly time, we kind of have a pattern where we say, okay, let's pray together. Then is there anything we need to revisit? We'll walk through the calendar. So is there anything in the next week to 4 weeks that we talk about? Okay, great. Then let's look at a book. Yeah. And so we take a chapter of a book kind of thing. We're walking through a different Gary Thomas book right now. And we both have read it before, so that we go and now we read the underlying parts. And because at the beginning, to be honest with you, when I realized how hard it was, we didn't know how to talk. Because it was too painful. But also we could talk about things, but we couldn't talk about, the nerves are too raw.
Yeah.
So talking about books was helpful, because that we could say, do we agree? Do we disagree?
Sure. It's a tool.
And that could be the focal versus, well, you. Is that okay the way to say
absolutely.
it? We just didn't know how to talk.
Yeah.
That's great. And then you would do a chapter a week, or, that's great. Bite size, go mini book club. Yeah.
And so just jump on that. So that's why for us, when you've heard me say this before, in marriage, it's habits, 4 habits: daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. Daily, tell each other, love each other, and pray together. That's daily. Weekly, have a date time. Every month, read a book together. Now, we'll do that every week, but by the time it's done, we usually have covered about a book a month, okay?
Yeah.
And then every year, get away together. And any couple that's doing those 4 habits, their arrow's pointing upward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And part of like, I love that, when Michelle and I have done this, she'll take away something, I'll take away something. That's 2 things that you can add, because it may be entirely different than what I picked up on. Part of that's conviction, of reading is like, oh, why is this really like, this is really jumping out to me, and digging through that. And so, you're picking up multiple tools, and I think that's so good.
Awesome. Do you guys have any final parting thoughts before we jump into our guest questions, which I think you've agreed to be willing to do? Any closing thoughts or things that you didn't get a chance to share?
Nothing comes to my mind right now.
I just add this is, you keep laughing together. And sometimes just laughing at yourself, not at each other, but laughing at yourself. Because we try to laugh a lot. Sometimes I have to hurt myself for Cindy to laugh.
Reed comes by that naturally, though. He sees humor in things.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's a good point, though. Life can be so heavy and so serious that if you can't find those moments, and Ryan, I feel like you bring a lot of humor to our relationship and just have a positive demeanor where you're able to help us all find laughter in things.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you guys. And Ryan, you have the questions.
Yeah, our guest questions. We ask every guest these questions, and it's I think they're 3 really important questions, and I think it kind of digs into marriage. So the first one, what is your marriage why? Why is marriage important to you?
I want to be an example. I don't want to quit on our marriage, and then people or our kids have marriage difficulties and they go, well, you quit? I can quit on our marriage. And so to me, it is be an example to someone else. You hang in there. And if you're willing to hang in there, you can work it out and you can build a very successful marriage. I was not going to quit. I'm not a quitter. Yeah.
And I've had the joy of doing a lot of weddings. And I always tell the couple that the 3 greatest gifts God's ever given us is the gift of life itself, the gift of life through his son, Jesus Christ, and then the gift of marriage. Because it's in that gift that forces us to learn how to become like Jesus. And so for me, the marriage why is because it is the greatest opportunity for me to learn how to love unselfishly, serve unselfishly, and everything else. But also to know that Cindy and I are not together just here in this life, but in eternity. Now, obviously, marriage won't be different there, but the aspect of being able to, this is not a journey for 60 years. This is a journey for eternity.
Yeah.
Those are beautiful answers.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so good. All right, your best date night.
We agreed on this one. Do you want me to go or you want to go?
Yeah.
Because we're with people a lot. So for us, an awesome date night is just staying at home and maybe watching a movie.
Yeah.
That
I
is
get
like
that.
the best date night ever. Yeah.
It is. It's every Friday night.
We try to do that every Friday night.
That's kind of our sacred night. We'll say no
Yeah.
to everything else, but by that time, we've been with people almost 6 days in a row kind of thing. And so we love just, being together, and we'll watch, we don't watch a lot of television, but that night we'll watch a movie, something together, have something to eat kind of thing. Because, some people think you have to, for a date night, you got to go out and nice restaurant and spend a lot of money. We go, let's snuggle up here and let's have fun, just be together.
Yeah, it's super fun.
Yeah. And then lastly, what's bringing you joy in your marriage right now?
Definitely legacy. You talked about seeing your children follow Jesus. Do you want to be overly blessed? Seeing your grandchildren read the Bible and pray at meal times. I mean, it just blesses my heart when I see them reading the Bible, and so leaving a legacy of not only your children following Jesus, but your grandchildren following Jesus and having successful, productive, life-giving marriages together. And so we see our kids doing what we have done. I mean, they are investing in each other. They are reading books. They are going to church. They are serving. They're investing in their children and praying with their children. And now we're seeing the results of that, which is very fun. You're gonna
That's so
you're
cool.
gonna love that part.
Just makes my heart swell
Oh
to
yeah,
hear that.
you're
That's
gonna
so cool.
love that part.
When Sarah and Chad, our daughter Sarah married Chad, at the wedding, had a chance, I had the ability to say something, and I told him, I said, always remember your number. Always remember your number. I said, here's the issue. You think you're at number one, for your marriage. You're number one. No, you're not. I said, you're at number, I think at that point it was like 231. That's your number right now, because that's the number of years collectively that your parents, Sinai and his parents, and the grandparents collectively had been married. I said, you're joining a greater number.
Wow.
Because what happens, sometimes people think, well, I know we've been married 7 years, but it's not working out. No, you're not at number 7. You're probably at number 186.
Wow.
And so knowing that you're not only contributing to the number, adding to the number, but you're developing that legacy that we want to see, the legacy of that be in the thousands of years of marriage. That's for us.
Wow. Yeah. That's so good. It's so good to think about. I mean, just as I'm thinking about my own family and, thinking about my parents being married for 50 plus years, my grandparents for 60 plus years. Like that's incredible.
Yeah. Mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, be fun to,
until, one spouse or the other passed. They were, great examples. So, yeah. Awesome. But if that's not the case for a listener, knowing that they can start that.
Start the number.
They can start the number.
Absolutely.
Right? Like they can start.
Yeah.
You guys, this has been so fun. And if you are a celebrator, just to hear from Cindy as well and to see your marriage, we don't often get to see that full side of you from the pulpit, Pastor Reed. So this has been such a joy and a treat. So thank you both for being guests on our show today.
It's my pleasure.
And thanks for what you guys do. We're really proud of you guys.
Yes.
Thank you. And thank you to our listeners. We're really proud of you as well for making this investment in your marriage. And we want you to know, if you don't have a church home, we would love to have you at Celebrate. You can find our location, service times, or watch online at Celebrate.church. We have marriage resources at Celebrate.church/marriage. We hope that you have a great week.
Have a great week.